You already know this truth, even if no one has ever said it out loud to you. Most of the damage in your life never came from enemies. It came from moments when you weren't in control. One careless sentence, one emotional reaction, one impulsive purchase, one runaway thought that became a storm. And every time, you told yourself, next time, I'll do better. But next time keeps coming, and the cycle keeps repeating. Deep down, you're not weak. You're simply untrained. No one taught you how to control your mouth when anger rises, your mood when life hits, your money when emotions spike, or your mind when fear whispers. Stoic philosophy was built for this exact battle, the battle within. Today, you're going to learn a way of living that gives you your power back, a way to respond with intention, choose with clarity, and act from strength. Because the moment you control yourself, nothing outside of you can control your life again. Let's begin. 1. Control your mouth. The first gate to self-mastery. Your mouth is the first place your life falls apart, and the first place it can be rebuilt. People think strength begins with muscles, money, or status. But in reality, it begins with restraint. The ability to hold your tongue when your pride is screaming, when anger surges through your chest, when the urge to defend yourself feels irresistible. Most people are defeated not by enemies, but by the sound of their own voice. One sentence spoken too quickly has ended friendships, destroyed opportunities, ruined reputations, and created wounds that echo for years. And if you're honest with yourself, you can remember the exact moment you said something you wish you could take back. Words can't be undone. They ripple outward, shaping how others trust you, follow you, and perceive your character. Stoics understood this deeply. They believed the tongue must be ruled with more discipline than the sword. A sword harms someone else, but an untrained tongue harms you. Marcus Aurelius warned himself daily to speak only what is necessary, not because silence is weak, but because silence is strategic. Words should never be wild arrows shot from emotion. They should be crafted deliberately, chosen with care, and used with purpose. A wise person does not speak to fill space. They speak to build clarity, maintain dignity, and preserve peace. Think about the moments that have truly cost you. Arguments where you reacted instantly. Times you tried to prove a point loudly. Situations where you said more than you needed to. The anger passed, but the damage stayed. This is why controlling your mouth is not about censorship. It's about power. When you speak less, you listen more. When you listen more, you understand. When you understand, you lead. And people trust leaders who measure their words. Most people speak from ego. They want to win the moment, appear right, or sound impressive. But Stoics speak from intention. Before words leave their mouth, they pass through 3 filters. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If the answer to any is no, silence is the wiser path. Silence is not emptiness. It is strength under control. It is the mind refusing to be dragged by emotion. It is the heart choosing dignity over dominance. It is the soul staying centered while the world tries to provoke it. When someone insults you, your ego will rise like a wave. You will feel the heat behind your face, the pressure in your chest, the urge to respond instantly. But the Stoic response is to pause, not for weakness, but for mastery. That pause is the moment where you reclaim yourself. That pause is the difference between reaction and response, between chaos and clarity. In that pause, you decide who you want to be. People who cannot control their mouth always lose power. They reveal too much, they over-explain, they gossip, they justify, they brag. They leak their insecurities through their words. A calm man, a disciplined woman, a grounded mind. They conserve language. Their words have weight because they are not wasted. When they finally speak, people listen. Why? Because silence has built tension, gravity, and authority around their voice. In relationships, controlled speech prevents unnecessary wounds. Most conflicts don't come from real problems. They come from careless phrasing, emotional tone, and unfiltered reactions. When your mouth is untrained, your relationships constantly bleed. When your mouth is disciplined, peace becomes easier to protect. You don't say things you regret. You don't escalate arguments. You don't weaponize your emotions. You speak from clarity, not chaos. In your career, controlling your mouth builds respect. The employee who argues impulsively loses credibility. The leader who speaks without thinking loses their team. The professional who overshares loses opportunities. But the person who speaks intentionally becomes someone others rely on. A steady presence in emotional storms, a voice that brings order when others bring noise. So how do you control your mouth in a world built on reaction? Begin with the 2-second rule. Before you speak, pause. Let the emotion settle by even a fraction. Ask yourself, what outcome do I want from this moment? Will these words serve that outcome? If not, stay quiet. Silence cannot be misquoted, cannot be twisted, cannot be used against you later. Silence is your shield. Next, learn to lower your voice, not raise it. When someone raises their voice, their argument weakens. When you lower yours, your power strengthens. Calmness is intimidating. Composure is authority. People instinctively lean toward those who stay centered when things become heated. You don't need to overpower someone's noise. You need to outlast it. Then, practice saying less than you want to. Let the other person reveal themselves while you conserve your presence. You don't need to fill every pause. You don't need to respond to every comment. You don't need to correct every misunderstanding. Speaking less is not withdrawing. It's choosing strategic engagement. It's picking battles worthy of your energy. It's refusing to drain your mind for the sake of momentary victory. Finally, embrace the Stoic belief that your words shape your character. Every sentence is a reflection of your self-control. Every conversation is a mirror of your inner discipline. Every silence is a declaration that you are not ruled by impulse. When you control your mouth, you strengthen your mind. When you strengthen your mind, your entire life begins to align. Because the truth is simple. Your mouth is either your downfall or your doorway to a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Master it, and you take the first step toward mastering everything else that follows. 2. Control your mood. The emotional discipline that builds an unbreakable life. If your mouth can destroy your peace in seconds, your mood can ruin entire days, weeks, even years. Most people are not living life. They're surviving their emotions. They wake up hopeful, but one comment, one problem, one inconvenience sends them spiraling. Their mood shifts, and suddenly everything feels heavier. One moment of irritation turns into a bad morning. A bad morning turns into a bad day. A bad day becomes a bad week. And slowly, without noticing, a person starts living in a constant emotional fog, confusing feelings with facts, reactions with reality. The Stoics believed that the greatest prison is the one we build inside our own mind when we allow emotions to dictate our choices. Seneca said it clearly. A man is as miserable as he believes himself to be. What he meant is simple. The emotion itself is not the problem. It's the story we attach to it. Anger is a spark, but your interpretation fuels the fire. Fear is a warning, but your imagination builds the monster. Sadness is a cloud, but your rumination creates the storm. Mood becomes suffering only when the mind loses control. Think about how easily someone can manipulate you when you cannot control your mood. A rude driver steals your patience. A co-worker's tone steals your confidence. A partner's comment steals your peace. When your mood controls you, everyone controls you. Anyone can push one emotional button and watch you react. That's not freedom. That's emotional slavery. Stoicism exists to break that chain. The key principle is this. You cannot choose your first emotion, but you can choose your second. Your first emotion is instinctive. The flash of anger, the wave of anxiety, the sudden insecurity. Your second emotion is deliberate, what you decide to do with that feeling. Emotional discipline begins at the moment you separate stimulus from response. To train this skill, the Stoics used 3 steps: observation, detachment, and reframing. Observation means naming the emotion instead of being consumed by it. When you say, "I am angry," you fuse yourself with the emotion. When you say, "I'm feeling anger," you create distance. You give your mind a moment to breathe. You shift from being the storm to watching the storm. This small linguistic change resets your entire nervous system. You are no longer drowning in emotion. You are studying it with clarity. Detachment is the second step. It doesn't mean you stop feeling or become emotionless. It means you choose not to act while the emotion is at its peak. Anger burns hottest in the first 10 seconds. Fear tightens your chest the moment uncertainty hits. Sadness feels deepest right when the disappointment lands. Detachment is the practice of not letting that first wave control your decisions. Think of it like stepping back from a fire instead of jumping into it. When you detach, the emotion loses its power over your hands, your mouth, your choices. Reframing is the final step. This is where Stoic mastery happens. Now you ask, is this within my control? If yes, take action. If no, release the emotional burden. Most suffering comes from trying to control what was never yours to control in the first place. The opinions of others, outcomes you cannot predict, events you cannot undo. When you reframe the situation through the lens of control, your mind returns to balance. Let's take a common example. Your partner says something hurtful. Instantly, your mood shifts. Without discipline, you react with anger, defensiveness, or withdrawal. But imagine applying the Stoic steps. You observe the emotion. I'm feeling hurt. You detach. You don't reply immediately. You breathe. Then you reframe. Their words are their emotion. My reaction is my responsibility. From this place, your response becomes wiser. You communicate instead of attacking. You express instead of exploding. You protect the relationship instead of damaging it. Or consider work. A co-worker criticizes your presentation. The old you becomes irritated, insecure, maybe resentful. But with emotional discipline, you observe the tightening in your chest. You detach, no instant reaction. You reframe. Feedback is information, not a personal attack. Suddenly, your mood becomes resilient instead of reactive. Consider driving in traffic. Someone cuts you off. Most people immediately explode in anger, as if the universe insulted them personally. But emotional discipline teaches you to pause, breathe, and remind yourself. Their behavior is about them. My peace is about me. This kind of control transforms your life. Imagine waking up and knowing that no stranger, no co-worker, no partner, no situation can hijack your emotions. Imagine moving through your day with an inner stillness that nothing can disrupt. That is real power. Not the power others see, but the power only you can feel. The power of self-governance. Another truth the Stoics understood is that mood is heavily influenced by internal narratives. The mind exaggerates, catastrophizes, and invents threats. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That means your mood is shaped more by interpretation than by events. Change the interpretation, and the mood changes with it. You can begin training this today by asking yourself 3 questions whenever your mood shifts. 1. What emotion am I feeling right now? Naming the emotion weakens its grip. 2. What story am I telling myself about this? They're disrespecting me. I'm failing. Everything is going wrong. These stories create suffering. 3. What is actually in my control at this moment? This question brings you back to reality and resets your emotional center. And here's another powerful Stoic practice. Never let your mood choose your words, your decisions, or your tone. Once your mood fades, the consequences remain. Emotional impulses are temporary, but emotional decisions are permanent. Mood control is also essential for ambition and discipline. Think about how many goals you abandoned because you didn't feel like it. Mood is the enemy of consistency. If you only act when your mood is right, you'll accomplish very little. But when your actions are rooted in principles rather than moods, you become unstoppable. The Stoics didn't wait to feel motivated. They acted from identity and duty. Mood follows action, not the other way around. Your relationships, your career, your health, your peace. Everything improves when your mood is no longer in charge. Emotional discipline transforms you into someone people respect, trust, and rely on. Someone who moves with quiet confidence. Someone who doesn't break under pressure. Someone who doesn't dissolve in conflict. Someone who stays grounded even when storms surround them. Because the truth is simple and powerful. If you cannot control your mood, the world will control your life. But once you master your emotional state, you become the calm center in a chaotic world, untouched, unshaken, fully alive and deeply in command of yourself. 3. Control your money. The discipline that protects your future and exposes your character. Money is emotional long before it becomes logical. People believe they have a money problem, but most often they have a self-control problem disguised as a financial one. Your relationship with money is not defined by how much you earn. It's defined by how you behave when emotions take over, when stress rises, when insecurity whispers, when boredom creeps in, when your ego wants to feel important for a moment. Money reveals your patterns. It exposes your impulses. It reflects your inner discipline more accurately than your words ever could. Stoic philosophy teaches that external things, wealth, status, possessions, are indifferent. They are not good or bad in themselves. What matters is how you use them. A disciplined mind uses money as a tool. An undisciplined mind uses it as anesthesia. The difference shapes destinies. Think about the purchases you regret the most. Were they logical or were they emotional? Did you need the item, or did you need the feeling it gave you? Validation, excitement, distraction, relief. Most people don't spend money. They spend feelings. When lonely, they buy something. When stressed, they order food or entertainment. When insecure, they buy symbols of confidence instead of developing actual confidence. This is why people can make more money yet still feel poor. Because their emotions scale with their income, not their discipline. Stoics understood this long before modern psychology. Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." That sentence contains a lifetime of freedom. You become wealthy not by earning more, but by needing less. You become powerful not by owning things, but by mastering the desire behind them. You become unbreakable when money no longer controls your decisions or your identity. Let's examine that identity piece. Many people spend to impress others. They buy things that signal status instead of things that support their life. Stoicism rejects this entirely. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily not to be seduced by luxury, because luxury breeds dependency. Dependency breeds weakness. When your sense of worth is tied to what you own, you are forever one financial setback away from feeling worthless. This is why financial freedom is not a number. It is a mindset. It begins with self-governance, not income. A person making modest money but practicing discipline can feel freer than someone wealthy who constantly chases more. Without control, money is just another master. But let's bring this back to your daily life. How many times have you justified a purchase because "I've had a rough day"? How often have you bought things to escape your emotions instead of confronting them? How often have you confused comfort with progress? These moments seem harmless, but they accumulate. Each one trains your brain to solve discomfort with spending. Over time, money becomes the bandage for wounds you never heal. The Stoic approach is radically different. Spend intentionally, not emotionally. Before any purchase, pause. Ask, what is the emotion behind this desire? If the answer is boredom, insecurity, stress, loneliness, or ego, you're not buying an object. You're trying to buy a temporary state of mind. And temporary states always fade, which means the spending continues. This is the cycle that keeps people financially trapped, no matter how much they earn. Stoic discipline introduces a simple but powerful rule. Delay consumption by 24 hours. If you want it tomorrow as much as you want it today, it might be worth considering. If the desire fades, it was never a need. It was an impulse. This one rule alone can save someone thousands every year, not because they deny themselves happiness, but because they stop feeding their emotional cravings with their financial future. Another Stoic principle for money is clarity. Track where your money goes, not to judge yourself, but to understand yourself. Your spending pattern is a mirror. It shows what you value, what you fear, what you avoid, and what you chase. If your money consistently flows toward distractions, it means your life lacks alignment. If it flows toward growth, health, and long-term security, it means your identity is rooted in wisdom, not impulse. Money also tests your character in relationships. Are you someone who seeks instant pleasure or someone who builds stability? Do you spend to feel significant or to build significance? Do you invest in things that endure or in sensations that vanish? Your financial behavior sends clear signals to the people around you. It communicates reliability, maturity, discipline, or the lack of it. In work and business, emotional spending bleeds into emotional decision-making. People chase trends, jump into risky ventures, or avoid investments out of fear. Stoic money discipline teaches you to stay grounded. You do not chase opportunity blindly, and you do not panic at every downturn. You act from reason, not emotion. You plan as if you might fail, and you behave as if you must succeed. Stoicism is not about poverty or wealth. It's about self-governance. And make no mistake, financial self-control increases every other form of self-control. When you practice restraint with money, you strengthen the same neural pathways involved in resisting anger, impulse, distraction, and pleasure. That means controlling your money helps you control your life. But the deepest lesson from Stoicism is this: money should never own your mind. It should never dictate your peace. It should never define your worth. It should never determine your identity. It is a tool, powerful when used wisely, destructive when used emotionally. When money becomes your master, you are never satisfied. But when you become its master, you become impossible to shake. So how do you begin reclaiming control? Start by building a simple ritual. At the end of each day, write down every purchase you made and ask 3 questions. 1. Did I buy this out of emotion or intention? 2. Did this improve my life or distract me from it? 3. Would I buy this again tomorrow? This daily reflection rewires the mind. It shifts you from unconscious spending to conscious living. It turns money from a reaction into a strategy. It builds a foundation of discipline that strengthens every other area of your life. Because here is the truth you already know: if you cannot control your money will control your mood, your decisions, your relationships, and your future. But once you control it, once you train your mind to detach from the impulse of spending, you don't just gain financial freedom, you gain emotional freedom, you gain mental clarity, you gain the power to build a life rooted in discipline, purpose, and peace. Control your money, and you begin to control your destiny. 4. Control your mind, the inner stronghold that determines everything else in your life. If your mouth reveals your discipline, your mood reveals your emotional intelligence, and your money reveals your impulses, then your mind reveals the true architect of your entire life. Everything begins there. Every decision, every reaction, every fear, every victory, every downfall, it all starts in the unseen space behind your eyes. This is why the Stoics believed that mastering the mind is the highest form of mastery. Because if you cannot govern your thoughts, then your thoughts will govern you. And an uncontrolled mind is a dangerous place. It invents suffering, exaggerates threats, clings to the past, obsesses over the future, and creates problems that don't even exist. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." In other words, you become whatever you repeatedly think. If your thoughts are chaotic, your life becomes chaotic. If your thoughts are fearful, your life becomes restricted. If your thoughts are reactive, your life becomes unstable. But if your thoughts are disciplined, focused, clear, and intentional, your life begins to reflect that same order. The first step of mind control is recognizing that your thoughts are not facts. Most people never learn this. They treat every thought as truth, every fear as prophecy, every insecurity as reality. The Stoics rejected this completely. They understood that the mind generates thousands of thoughts a day, many of them distorted by emotion, habit, memory, and imagination. A thought is just a suggestion, not a command. You are free to question it, examine it, reject it, or replace it. Freedom begins the moment you stop believing everything your mind says. Think of how often your mind has sabotaged you. It tells you you're not ready. They don't like you. This will fail. You always mess things up. It's too late. These thoughts feel real, but they are not reflections of truth. They are reflections of fear, and fear thrives in an undisciplined mind. A mind left unguarded becomes a playground for doubt, anxiety, and overthinking. You start living inside your head instead of living in the real world. Stoic training teaches you to separate observation from interpretation. Something happens. Your mind immediately interprets it. But the interpretation is the problem, not the event. Someone doesn't text back. You interpret rejection. A project gets delayed. You interpret failure. A stranger gives you a strange look. You interpret judgment. The mind exaggerates, adds layers, invents meaning, and reacts emotionally to its own fiction. This is how suffering multiplies. So how do you begin to control your mind? The first practice is input control. What you consume shapes what you think. If your mind is constantly flooded with noise, negativity, gossip, outrage, comparison, and endless digital stimulation, you cannot expect clarity. You cannot expect focus. You cannot expect emotional stability. A polluted environment creates a polluted mind. This is why the Stoics were strict about what they allowed into their mental space. They believed the mind must be curated like a sacred room. If you let everyone track dirt inside, don't be surprised when you feel dirty. Start by reducing low-quality input. Limit social media scrolling. Avoid arguments online. Cut back on news cycles designed to alarm you. Step away from people whose chaos becomes your chaos. You cannot think deeply if your attention is constantly scattered. You cannot grow if your mind is constantly distracted. Protect your mental environment and your inner clarity will begin to rise. The second practice is rehearsed thinking. A disciplined mind does not wait for clarity. It creates clarity. This is why Stoics wrote every day. They didn't journal for aesthetics. They journaled for survival. Writing forces your thoughts to slow down. It exposes the irrational beliefs hiding beneath your emotions. It transforms chaos into structure. Each morning, write 3 things you need to remember: who you want to be, how you want to think, and what is within your control today. This anchors the mind before the world tries to pull it everywhere else. At night, write 3 reflections: what you did well, what you could have done better, and what you learned about your mind today. This is not self-criticism, it is self-training. You're shaping your thinking like a craftsman shapes stone. The third practice is the Stoic tool of memento mori, the reminder of mortality. This is not meant to depress you, it is meant to sharpen your focus. When you remember that your time is finite, trivial worries lose their power. Overthinking weakens. Fear shrinks. Anxiety becomes less convincing. You stop wasting mental energy on things that do not matter: petty conflicts, opinions of strangers, imagined scenarios, old grudges, and future fantasies. The mind becomes disciplined when it is reminded of what is essential. Memento mori turns your attention toward what you can build, who you can become, and what you can control today, not someday. Another essential Stoic practice is cognitive distancing. When a negative thought arises, instead of saying, "I am anxious," say, "I am noticing anxiety." Instead of saying, "I am failing," say, "I'm having the thought that I might fail." This small shift creates psychological distance. It allows you to examine the thought instead of drowning in it. Suddenly, the thought loses its grip. You see it as a mental event, not your identity. And then there is the discipline of present attention. Most suffering comes from mentally time-traveling, ruminating on the past, or catastrophizing the future. The Stoics trained themselves to live in the moment they could act in, now. You cannot rewrite yesterday, you cannot predict tomorrow, but you can govern this thought, this breath, this choice. The present is where the mind regains its strength. Imagine what your life would look like if you controlled your mind at this level. Imagine waking up and not being pulled by every anxious thought. Imagine moving through your day without overthinking every interaction. Imagine having the mental stillness to make clear decisions, respond wisely, and stay grounded while others panic. This is not fantasy, it is the result of disciplined thinking. A controlled mind becomes a fortress. It becomes stable when life is unstable. It remains calm when others are chaotic. It focuses on action instead of excuses. It sees reality clearly. It does not exaggerate pain nor underestimate its own strength. It becomes your greatest ally, your most reliable guide, and your strongest shield. Because here is the truth. Your life cannot rise above the quality of your thoughts. If you want a stronger life, strengthen your mind. If you want a calmer life, discipline your mind. If you want a freer life, quiet the noise inside your mind. Once you learn to govern your thoughts, everything else becomes governable. Your mood, your money, your words, your actions, your destiny. Control the mind, and you control the world that exists within you. And once that world is strong, nothing outside of you can break it. When you learn to control your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind, you reclaim the power life once took from you. These 4 disciplines are not separate. They reinforce one another. A controlled mouth protects your relationships. A controlled mood protects your peace. A controlled approach to money protects your future. And a controlled mind protects everything else. This is the Stoic path. Self-mastery, not by force, but by clarity and intention. You don't transform your life by changing the world around you. You transform it by changing what happens within you, one reaction, one choice, one thought at a time. And the moment you commit to this inner discipline, you stop living on emotional autopilot and start living with purpose. If this video helped you, like, share, and comment self-control to anchor your commitment. Your power begins where your excuses end.